We're here for round 3 in Alabama for IndyCar action at Barber. An exciting round last time out in Long Beach where David Malukas picked up the victory. Who will win this weekend in Barber?
Round 3 of the season, we're taking on Barber here in Alabama, fresh off of David Malukas picking up his first win in IndyCar as we DNF'd in 25th after a bit of a dramatic Grand Prix in Long Beach. A few of you have been asking about the IndyCar point system. There it is right there, but ignore everything on the right side. Due to iRacing's limitations, we don't have extra points for pole or leading the most laps or leading a lap. But pause the screen and you can kind of get an idea there of what everything looks like. Now, following today's episode, in round 4 of the season, I will start showing the points, as of course now it starts to have a bit of an importance to it. Now, of course, they're important all season long, but once we kind of allow the season to get building a little bit, that's of course when it's time to really pay attention and understand what the situation is here now. So rolling through here into Barber, we were thrown into Long Beach with an unexpected opportunity to fight for our first win in IndyCar. We didn't have the car really capable of winning. It was just a sudden opportunity with a yellow after we brought out the yellow, getting spun out by Graham Rahal, which led to a quite dramatic accident. We came into this weekend, Rahal addressed it and said quite simply he screwed up. You see the media bit there. He did not actually reach out to me, but I mean, just seeing that tidbit was enough to kind of move on and get over it. Unfortunate, but it actually, like I said, gave us the unexpected opportunity to fight for a win. Unfortunately, you guys obviously saw I binned it into the turn 1 exit barrier while leading in the closing laps, and that allowed David Malukas instead to pick up the race victory. Of course, racing with this Meyer-Shank team, there's no guarantee we're going to have a chance to win again this season. But the goal today is to get the thing we haven't done yet in a points-paying race. Of course, we've had 3 rounds, 2 points-paying races, and the points-paying races we have not finished yet inside the top 10. Today's goal is simple: finish in the top 10. Here's the practice order: Colton Herta, Linus Lundqvist there at the top of the board. We're about midfield with Marcus Armstrong, Joseph Newgarden, second slowest in practice. I was a bit surprised to see that there. He has been extremely quick in all rounds this season, but he has not had the finishes to show in the 2 points paying races so far. Let's see what he can do this weekend now in Alabama from Barber here as we would roll into qualifying now. 2 laps is what we get, as you guys know, as we're going to take you on board here through turn 1 and turn 2, a long sweeping right-hander here in turn number 2. You really just got to be patient to get back on that throttle, but you hammer that throttle, you head down towards this hairpin, brake between the 2 and the 1 sign. At least that's what I was doing. We're on the red striped alternate, so we're going to be as quick as we're going to be all weekend right here, having the most grip. We go through this almost, I call it a bit of a corkscrew right there, and then you have a really quick chicane, full beans through there, and then you have a chicane to follow immediately after, the same kind of configuration, but a bit of a different shape and slope, and you have to slow it down. Then you go through this long sweeping right bend here, in towards the final chicane here, the penultimate turn, and then the final left-hander. Right now, it's Colton Herta on pole at the end of lap 1. We're going to come through to cross the line. It's going to be a 1:10 range of a lap. It's going to be a 1:10.299 that puts us P21 as we sail it off into turn number 1. And if you look on the steering wheel, you can see the bottom right number just above the boxes, negative 0.11. That's how much time we have gained. Is have a bit of a mistake there, so we lose some time. But over the course of this lap, we're going to continue to gain through the corkscrew downhill elevation here. We're going to find 0.2 of a second, and then I unfortunately am going to dip my left sides in the grass and invalidate my lap. So yeah, it's going to be P21, but we would find 0.4 of a second as Pato O'Ward would goal pole position here, but we would find the 0.4 that didn't matter, and if we had not invalidated the lap, it would have put us right in that area right there, the mid-teens. So we're starting P21. We've got a car that's capable, I think, of a top 10, but Herta on pole over Pato O'Ward, who got second. I originally said pole. That was completely inaccurate there. Alex Palou, Scott Dixon there, Will Power in the top 5. Power in need of a good run here in Barber, but Joseph Newgarden right there down in the mid-teens along with his teammate of McLaughlin. Let's head into the race here from Barber.
All right, bud, let's move on from Long Beach and focus in. Not where we want to start, but we have good speed.
Yeah, 10-4. Thanks to the hard work, guys. Fixing the car from Long Beach, and I'll deliver today. Let's get the top 10. We're ready to roll from P21 here. 40 laps of racing. Let's send it over to Lee Diffie.
Colton Herta and Pato O'Ward set to lead us to the green flag. James, is this where O'Ward turns things around?
I hope so for the sake of him. He needs to get through turn 1 first, and then we'll see if he has anything for Colton.
Scott Dixon and David Malukas are our 2 winners this year. Joseph Newgarden has had so much speed, but strategy blunders have been his setback this year. A poor starting spot for him today. Let's go racing.
It's all Colton Herta leading the way down towards turn 1. Scott Dixon, Malukas, your 2 points winners this season. Who's going to join that club today? Around the outside, O'Ward takes the lead immediately. He started on pole in Long Beach, but if you remember, he wrecked the car before we even started the race. On the exit of the final turn, he's looking for redemption today. O'Ward to the lead in the McLaren Arrow. Now as I myself right there get pinched by Colin Braun, so we have to back out of it very, very briefly here, but it's been a good start for myself now as we head down into the hairpin. You see our teammate of Rosenquist there, a few car lengths ahead now as everyone's getting sorted out nice and quickly. Alex Palou settles in behind Scott Dixon. We're still wheel to wheel here with now Colin Braun on the entrance towards this little hairpin after, of course, this little chicane, corkscrew, whatever the heck you want to call it now. But we would settle in behind Braun, but we open up the exit. Thank you very much. We'll take the position right back here now. So thank you. We'll move past that number 51 in behind Alex Rossi in that McLaren Arrow. As you can see, them kind of taking their time here into this chicane. And I was also just trying to play it safe here. 40 laps of racing, a fuel run. You can get about 25 to 26 laps out of a fuel tank here. So the pit window, basically, it's going to open up around lap 15 to 16. You'll be able to stretch it from that point. I don't want to pit until about as late as possible, to be honest, so we'll kind of wait and see how things happen here now as we make an aggressive move here. Lap 2 up the inside of Alex Rossi. Thank you very much. That moves us up to P19, so 2 spots gained so far. O'Ward already opening up the gap to Herta. You see in the bottom right, 4.5 tenths the last time they came back around here now as we're just settling in, getting into a bit of a rhythm. But how about this Newgarden? We talked about it already in practice qualifying, not looking so hot, and as well his teammate there of Scott McLaughlin just in front. Both of the Penske machines right here in front of us, not showcasing the speed that we've seen out of them in all 3 races this season, really, including the $1 million challenge from Willow Springs. Look at the run we get on Newgarden. He's on that black wall primary tire here, but I didn't make the move into that corner. That chicane, really just not a smart place to go for a move, but you can see Newgarden really struggling. It looks like that car is just not wanting to turn in, as we see actually a graphic there, him complaining exactly about the understeer in that Penske machine. So Newgarden going to be in for a rough day unless they can maybe make some adjustments here on a pit stop, but obviously they're only going to get one opportunity to really make that happen. And look at this, out of the final turn, you can see Newgarden, just nothing's working for him right now. We're going to go up the inside here on the run down towards turn number 1. We're going to brake right at the 1 marker there on the right side of the circuit, and we'll get the job done. So another spot gained. So as we start lap 5, we move up into 18th place. Next up is Newgarden's teammate Scott McLaughlin here, the number 2. Of course, we're going to roll up on the back of him, and looks like he's struggling with the exact same issue that Newgarden has. Really understeery there. And now that's going to allow me to make a move on the number 3. Sorry, not the number 2. Got the numbers reversed there for the 2 drivers, but up the inside of McLaughlin we go. We'll take the position up to P17 already.
Great pace so far. Keep it up here.
It's driving really good. I was really happy with how this car was driving here, and now we're up on the back of Kyle Kirkwood now in that number 27, that AutoNation rear wing. We're all over the back of it. The pink and black machine will go to the left side here, and there we go, another move up the inside into the hairpin. Of course, this is one of the primary passing zones on the circuit now. I mean, your best opportunity to really make things happen. That's another position gained side by side behind us as well. That's Newgarden and his teammate of Scott McLaughlin. These two have been around each other so much this season so far, and through the highs and the lows, they've both gotten wrong strategies as well. You remember that season opener. McLaughlin, though, stays ahead. He fights off Newgarden as you see the rest of the field all the way at the back. Last episode's instigator of that accident, that's Graham Rahal, running really poorly here today. We now start lap 8 of 40, still outside of the pit window, and no sign of these red alternates really falling off yet now compared to the black wall primary, so it's pretty happy with that now, as we're just going to stay out really until they start to fade. Now is actually give a little bit of a tap there to Linus Lundqvist, and we continue to follow him up through the elevation here on the first half of the track again, down towards the hairpin, and this has been a corner that's been treating us really well so far, and it looks like it's going to do the same here now, as we have just the grip, we have the power, we get past him. He's also on the black wall primaries. A lot of drivers are on that black wall tire right now compared to myself on the red stripe alternates here, and now a move right here on Fittipaldi now as we're going to continue down towards the chicane, the high-speed chicane. Actually, there's a little bit of contact with his right front on my left rear. I didn't quite leave enough room for Pietro Fittipaldi, but we were able to both escape without any damage, so we're okay. Next up, last episode winner, David Malukas, starting lap 10. We're up to P14 now at this point, and Lil Dave is now under attack. He pulled off the unexpected win in Long Beach, and now we're putting some pressure on him as we head up the hill, but I had a bit of a moment. I had to back out of it, so I had to follow him all the way through this next lap. But here we go with another run on the run towards turn 1. We're both now on the red stripe alternates. We'll break just before that 1 sign, and sometimes when you go into turn 1, you saw it there, a little bit of a overcorrect, a correct. I didn't overcorrect at all, but the rear end really does like to kind of kick out from under you into turn 1, so you got to be really aware of that. But through turn 2, Malukas able to stay out in front. I haven't used any of my 10 push to passes yet, and I'm not going to use it here either. We get up the inside, a very cautious entry into the corner, but look at the run we get on the exit. Now in front of Malukas into P13, and we can focus in on now our teammate of Felix Rosenqvist here, as he was able to finish runner-up last episode in Long Beach to David Malukas after, of course, my fumble, and he made that last lap pass on Santino Ferrucci. Side-by-side battles happening here in front of us on lap 13, so really just trying to be patient and not get myself into a situation I don't need to be in. But you can see my teammate of Rosenqvist, a poor exit there, leaves a gap between him and Christian Lundgaard. Lundgaard looked really strong in Long Beach. I thought he was going to win the race before that caution came out, and the strategy situation, no room left there from Rosenqvist. We nearly made contact into the hairpin, and we just barely avoid it. I mean, what the was that, dude? I was there. Teammates nearly colliding, and we lost a spot there to Malukas. We'll take a look at it here from the third-person view. You be the judge on that one. We never hit. Did I overreact? I feel like there would have been contact if I didn't go over and dip the right sides into the grass. Like I said, you guys can be the judge in the comments down below, but we waste no time. Lap 14 at this point on the inside of Malukas, starting lap 15. We'll pass him. The pit window is about to open. I mean, if you pit this lap here, lap 15, you might be able to make it by like half a lap to 1 lap of fuel. So no one's going to bother coming in, but the strategy, you do see quite a bit of it here, and we're going to probably see it today. But now to the inside of Rosenqvist, this time using a push to pass. That's the first time we've used one so far today. Side by side up in front of us, that looks like Roman Grosjean as well, maybe going at it there with Ferrucci. Lundgaard as well, all up here in front of us now. As you can see at the very top of the screen, we're seeing a couple of pit notifications, so drivers just barely within the pit window are coming in, and it's starting with Will Power. He comes in that number 12, and as well, Rinus VK gonna follow him in, and it looks like it's just gonna be those two for now. No, there's our teammate. Rosenqvist pits from behind us, so it'll be interesting to see as we're planning to run this run quite long towards the end of the field run. What's the gap difference going to be? How much is the tire going to make a difference here? We're going to stick to the original plan. We have 9.3 estimated laps of fuel right now. We're going to continue to stretch this to the final couple of laps on a tank. Colton Herta going to be the next one to pit here at the conclusion of lap 17, so he's going to come in from second, as Pato Award had opened up a multi-second gap at this point now, and as well saw Alex Palou, the defending champion, come into the pits as well, as we have a run now on Santino Ferrucci. Up the inside we go of the American on the run down towards turn number 1. Another position gain there. We pass the AJ Foyt machine. Here you got Roman Grosjean, Marcus Armstrong as well, as Armstrong continues to impress here for the Ganassi team. However, when it comes to maybe Rookies of the Year contenders, I feel like we've done a fairly competitive job this season. We just haven't had the finishes to showcase it, but we have a bit of a moment there with Grosjean on the same moment where we had one with Rosenqvist a few laps prior. But now you can see Grosjean is able to get past Marcus Armstrong, and I'm actually going to follow suit on now lap 19 up the inside into the hairpin. Thank you very much, Marcus Armstrong, leaving him plenty of room right there. We'll get past him. So right now into P7, but obviously that doesn't tell the story. We're going to be a little bit further down the order when the pit sequence is, of course, sorted here in these next few laps. But it looked like as we were hitting the halfway point of this race, the alternates were starting to fade a little bit. I was really having pressure putting on some, or I was having issues putting pressure on Grosjean here, and you can see, I just can't quite get to him. And watch this right here, a bit of a mistake from myself going in towards the final couple of corners. They're going way wide, and now Grosjean is able to open up the gap. So at this point, it's time to come into the pits, I feel. Lap 22, we're well within the pit window. Of course, if we can go about 25 laps total, we had about 3 laps of fuel estimated, about 3.5 to be exact. So we're going to come into the pits this lap right here. Grosjean continues to manage the gap, and now here we go heading into the pit lane. So we're going to come in, fill it up, of course, the fuel, and as well put on the now Blackwall primaries. In IndyCar, you have to use both tire compounds throughout a race. So we'll come in and get the Blackwall primaries on. Of course, not as much grip, not as much pace, but a longer lasting tire that will hopefully have more pace than the alternates that the other drivers are on. So we get into our pit box without any issues now. Well, this race stayed green the whole way. The first race of the season, we didn't see any accidents. The $1 million challenge, we saw a few. Last episode as well, we had the one with myself in both ways. Actually, we were part of both yellows, actually. One was my fault, the last one. The first one really was no fault of myself at all. Scott Dixon, Pato O'Ward, the leader. The front two drivers, really, they're going to be pitting this lap right here. So you're going to see them head into the pit lane momentarily. But here's what's going on in front of us right now. So we've come out way behind our teammate of Rosenquist, who's nearly 10 seconds ahead, telling you the difference the tires are making in over a few laps. As you can see, some battles right here. But that's Colton Herta. He pitted well before the leader of O'Ward. Herta was running second at the time, but he's in this jam right here of Rasmussen, as well as Alex Rossi, Stingray Rob, Jack Harvey, you name it, they're all right there together. And as that's happening now, you got the pit stops for Pato O'Ward, Scott Dixon, Lundgaard, there's Grosjean coming in. Where will we come out compared to Roman Grosjean, as we of course pitted behind him? So we'll have to wait and see what happens. O'Ward already exiting the pit lane, and here comes a few drivers that have yet to pit. Linus Lundqvist, as well, Joseph Newgarden, who's had a rough day, as well as I believe that's Pietro Fittipaldi. Yes, it is Fittipaldi on the racetrack as well. So 3 cars have yet to box now as we come out in front of Grosjean. As you see in the relative on the bottom right, about 2 seconds behind or ahead of him. And now the battles continue as O'Ward's trying to get his tires up to, of course, the temperature in that operating window. Lundqvist is up his inside here. Newgarden is well ready to pounce, and hold on, O'Ward's going to stay in it now as they head towards this high-speed chicane. Who's going to lift? None of them are going to lift. They're side by side. Contact O'Ward wide, and a big shunt right there for Lundqvist, and that's going to be him out of the race here from Barber in Alabama, and a full course yellow is going to fly due to that accident. There is still on the racing surface. You see he committed, he stayed in it. A really just rookie mistake, silly error right there that just did not need to happen. A huge shunt, and his day is over.
Okay, big crash there. Thankfully we already pitted, so we will stay out here.
Yep, 10-4. So Newgarden, as well as Pietro Fittipaldi, those guys that all didn't pit. Grosjean, they're all coming in now as well. Or sorry, not Grosjean, Canapino. Fittipaldi actually did not pit immediately. Not sure why, but he's going to come in next time around, and so is unexpectedly Will Power in for a second pit stop. They were the very first car to pit. They are apparently under the impression that they don't have enough fuel in the car. We saw him make an additional pit stop last episode as well in Long Beach, so they just screwed themselves royally. We're going to be P9 for the restart, and it's still led by Pato O'Ward. Colton Herta's back up in second, but Palou now to third. Scott Dixon has dropped down the order here by a few positions, but we're back racing here from Barber. It's going to be just shy of 15 laps to go now as we cross the stripe. We'll start lap 27 of 40. Everybody can make it from here. Different tire compounds, of course, strapped on many cars now, some on that alternate, some like myself on the primaries. Our intention, right off the bat, put some pressure on this guy right here, the Toronto winner from last season, Christian Lundgaard. Just behind myself is Kyle Kirkwood as well, trying to put pressure on me, but it looks like those red striped alternates not quite kicking up into that operating window for Lundgaard. We'll be able to get the overtake done hopefully on the exit of this corner. Yes, we will. That moves us through into P8 here now as we continue to follow through. Marcus Ericsson just in front of ourselves now. Pato O'Ward continues to lead over Colton Herta, Palou, Rinus VK as well. Shout out to VK, having a really solid and competitive top 5 run today. He's there on pace. That's not any, good strategy or luck for him that's put him there. But now, lap 29, roles have reversed. Now I'm under pressure from Lundgaard here, and he's actually going to look around my outside into the same hairpin that we passed him previously, and he's going to go around my outside. Those red striped alternates have lit up, and they are going now for him. He will pass us, so hopefully we can pass him back here in the coming laps when maybe we start to see a bit of a transition into the favor of the primary tire. That's at least a hope. So we drop back down into 9th place here, lap 30 at this point of 40, coming to 10 laps to go. At this point, just like I said, waiting for the car to kind of turn on, waiting for the tire to turn on. We're just kind of holding on at this point. And look at this right here, right to the back of Lundgaard, nearly into the back of him, starting lap 32, and now we're hitting that point where I felt like I could start to put some pressure on the back of him here now once again as we get right to him here into the hairpin. Just behind us, Kyle Kirkwood continues to follow now as we're right to the back of Lundgaard now as we head down towards this slow speed chicane. Can't quite get the car to hook up there, so we're going to have to remain patient. Big crash in the back. That's two drivers, this Rahal and as well Canapino, both out. They're both off track. They're going to keep it green now as both cars are, like I said, off the racing surface. Well, I say that Canapino's reversing across the whole track. Replay, contact with Harvey and Canapino, and he's going to overcorrect into Rahal. A big shot there, a heavy collision. And the real reason the caution didn't come out is I had no way of seeing this. So otherwise, if I had seen that, immediate caution on board with Rahal. He just wrong place, wrong time. Major accident there. That's 2 races in a row he will crash out of. My goodness, unfortunate for Rahal. We stay green, however, now as we continue to follow on the back of Christian Lundgaard, coming to the final 7 laps here from Barber. And it's still all Pato O'Ward. He is just dominating this whole race now. It doesn't seem like you can stop him. You can see him on the track map just driving away. Canapino would actually get back on the racetrack, and he is in front there towards the front drivers. But there we go. With the push to pass advantage, we will pass Lundgaard there for that now 8th position. Can we run down Marcus Armstrong? Felix Rosenquist just in front of him. Rosenquist has really benefited from pitting earlier and then getting good track position, and now he's actually putting pressure on Scott Dixon. He's going side by side with Dixon on the downhill elevation, of course, chicane, and that's going to be great for us because it's going to allow us to close in. There you see it. Dixon going to lose a spot to Rosenquist now, and now he's side by side with Ericsson as they both head down towards the high-speed chicane. We've already seen how this has worked out twice today. There's contact between the 2 drivers. Ericsson spinning right in front of us. Where do we go? We go to the left side. We narrowly avoid it. We stay green again as he's gotten it back going. Contact right there with Lundgaard as he sailed it off in there, and we continue on. My goodness, now we'll get a replay as what just happened with Ericsson. I mean, same song, different verse. Contact there. Dixon is okay, but he just does a 360, not a no-scope, because, well, he unfortunately screwed himself. And then here's the contact. I mean, Lundgaard, I would say, really just turned into me. We continue on and try to stick with him. 5 laps to go, and look at the just overall pace we have on Lundgaard. We have had to pass him a few times already, and we're looking for it one more time, but this is for 7th place. We are probably not going to be able to do much more than this as we complete the overtake, hopefully, in towards the hairpin. Up the inside, we brake later, and here we go through the hairpin now, leaving him still the room that he is, of course, worthy and deserving of, but we get the job done again into P7. But that was really all she wrote at this point now. As you can see that there's just too much of a gap. We're 4 seconds behind Scott Dixon and Felix Rosenquist. Now, fortunately, they're running pretty close together. They might continue to battle it out in these closing moments here, but it's just not going to be enough time for me to close that gap as we approach the final few laps. Pato O'Ward continues to drive away now, over 4 seconds ahead of 2nd place Colton Herta, 4.9 to be exact, as we hit 2 laps to go in this race here from Barber. Our first top 10 in a points-paying race in IndyCar is about to happen as long as we don't crash the car. Final lap underway, going through our final push to passes here as it's all Pato O'Ward. It's been a really interesting season for O'Ward, a quiet season opener. We went into the $1 Million Challenge. He crashed twice in the $1 Million Challenge from Willow Springs, and he crashed from pole immediately last episode in Long Beach. We continue to close in on Dixon and Rosenquist in these closing moments, but it doesn't matter. It's not enough. It's Pato O'Ward, though, starting second, an immediate pass into turn 1 on Colton Herta, and he hasn't looked back. He survived the chaos. He survived drives the yellows in different strategies. Pato Award will win for the first time this season here in Barber from round number 3. It's Herta P2, Palo P3 to complete the podium there as well. Rena's VK in the top 5 along with our teammate of Felix Rosenquist, 6, and for myself, 6 for Dixon, for myself, P7, our first top 10 in our IndyCar career.
Awesome stuff, Gary. First top 10. Great drive and great day for the whole team.
Awesome stuff, guys. Thank you for the hard work this weekend. That's how we turn it around. Great day. Awesome stuff to get our first top 10, P7 here in Barber now as we bring it into the pit lane. And, well, we call it an afternoon here in Barber. We'll look at the finishing order. As you see, it's award, of course, Herta, Palo, your podium, but some standouts there. Lundgaard in the top 10. Grosjean with a top 10 as well. Last episode, winner Malukas there from Long Beach in 13th. McLaughlin with a decent round in 14th. Colin Braun, Kiffin, Simpson, really solid runs for fellow rookies there in 16th and 17th. Rossi down in 19th, but Willpower, short end of the stick on strategy. Newgarden just struggled all weekend long. You see the bottom runners there and the DNFs as well for Lundqvist and Graham Rahal, the 2 drivers out. That is going to wrap it up for us here in this episode. I decided to edit in at the end, actually, the point standings here. Rosenquist out in front, so Meyer Shank at the top of the board with Herta, 24 points back, Dixon 26 back, Malukas up there in 4th, but myself, obviously a rough start to the season with the first 2 points paying rounds. We're at the 17th position right now. Rahal all the way at the bottom. Newgarden, second worst in points while he's had pace to win races. It's a miserable start to the season for him. Hopefully he continues to improve going forward. But in the next episode, I'll see you guys from Indianapolis for the road course race before the Indy 500, the prelude to the big Indianapolis 500. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.